Hey, you're listening to iFanboy Pick of the Week, episode 982.
You got it.
I had to focus on it because it was like 30, whatever. Anyway, there was a while where I was writing 7. So, like I was saying, it's 780, but it's not. It's 200 later. 982. I'm Josh Flanagan. I'm going to pay attention. I'm here with Connor Kilpatrick.
Hello.
He keeps me on track. This is iFanboy 2025. It's our 20th year of doing this podcast and our 25th year of doing iFanboy as a website. And yes, those original years where nobody came there and we kept doing it do count. That was the training ground, my friend. That's where I rode around with Denzel Washington and you showed me what was up with comics. I wish I could remember the officer's name. It would have been a lot funnier. The detective, whatever.
Denzel's name?
Yeah, what's Denzel's name in that movie? Like, if you were to read it, you'd be like, oh, I know what that is. Anyway, where were we? Every week for 25 years, one of us has made the pick of the week. They pick the comic book from the week that they like the best. We will talk about that book. We talk about the other comics that came out this week. I'm already fading?
Yeah, like you're off the track already.
I'm tired.
I'm going to challenge your assertion here. It's Detective Alonzo Harris.
Lonzo.
Which I would not have remembered.
Lonzo Harris. I knew it was like, it's not quite. It's Lonzo. That's what they called him. I can't remember that. Anyway, I didn't remember Harris.
Right.
We're going to talk about the comic books. There's a lot of them this week. So that might mean something for those of you who've been around for a long time. Maybe we get to listener mail. It's no promises. It's going to be a good time. There is a spoiler warning. There is an NBA Finals game on that we got to get to.
Yep.
Exercise some caution. Connor, I was so excited when you said that you had the pick this week because I just assumed because I didn't do it last week that it was me.
Yeah.
And I had to go check the website. I was like, oh, I really don't. Cleared up my whole Friday.
I almost quit this week. I ended up reading 32 comics when you added in the patron pick. And that's too many for a 48-hour. I started reading on Monday. So whatever, 50-something hour span. It's a lot. You tend to lose a lot of details. A lot of things get lost in the translation. But there were good things. There were bad things. There are many books I don't even remember. It's going to be an interesting after show. But the pick of the week ended up being Batman and Robin Year 1, number 8, from Mark Waid, Chris Samnee, Mateus Lopez, and Clayton Cowles. And not for any major earth-shattering reason. It was just a really great comic done by really professional creators. And I just thought there were really great little moments in it, from the first scene in which Dick and Bruce are fighting bad guys and Robin kicks the gun out of the guy's hand, picks it up, and points it at the bad guy and gets a stern talking to from Batman about guns. And then my favorite scene was Bruce, shows up at Commissioner Gordon's office in his shadowy Batman way, and he doesn't do the disappearing act. Instead, he picks up the photograph that Gordon has on his desk of Barbara, and they start having a dad talk because Bruce is freaked out about being basically Dick's dad, and he's like, I mean, what do you do? How do you know how to do it? So I thought that was really great. I've never seen that conversation before.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Very vulnerable Batman.
I had the moment where I was like, would he do this? And then I was like, oh, Mark Waid says he was. Like, I don't question Mark Waid ever. Like, when it comes to what
only
these
do it with
characters
Gordon.
do.
He'd only do it with Gordon.
Yes.
And then there's a classic fight where, so in the previous issue, Gordon had a file of all the suspected Batman. So they're trying to figure who Batman is. They've got a file of suspects, and so it was stolen. And Bruce is on the list, and so they're attacking all the people on the list. And Clayface goes to the mansion pretending to be Bruce, and Dick quickly susses it out. And I thought that was a really fun scene as well. And I think it was just a bunch of sequences of really fun scenes. And I think it took for this issue for me to understand that this is a book about, I mean, it's so stupid for me to say this, but it's a book about fathers and sons. And there's a lot of them. And there's the villain side where the general and his dad are the sort of, scarred other side of Batman and Robin, in which they hate each other and trying to kill each other. But they're fathers and sons dealing with their issues as well. This whole book is about that relationship. Best Batman and Robin try to work out their relationship. On the other side, the bad guys paternal relationship is pretty bad. And so, it's great. We're 8 out of 12 issues through, so we're hitting the home stretch. Chris Samnee and Mateus Lopez doing really just wonderful work here. It is a sight to behold every issue. And I'm looking at page 17 on my digital reader where Dick slides under the desk at us and the ankle's canted, and there's just really great panels happening in every page. It's just a wonderful looking book. I don't love the cover, but I don't care.
Going back to it, it's a weird cover.
It's a weird cover.
Why? How does that?
I don't know. It's a weird cover.
Why? That's Alfred's face.
No, it's a guy. It looks like a mobster because he's wearing a fedora.
Oh,
they're in the shadow of the. I don't know. It's not a. I don't think it's a good cover.
No. Well, you can't win them all.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I like this. Obviously, I love this book, but this issue was really just solidly done in every aspect. And then the scenes, like I said, the scene with Gordon and Batman I'd never seen before, with Batman being vulnerable about his parentage, and then you get to see some really great stuff with Robin at home, and then there's the scene in the beginning with the gun. Like it was just a bunch of great sequences drawn really well. I love the fucking mustache he gives Gordon, the big bushy animated series mustache. It's a great mustache.
I had a little I keep thinking, because we did the Jason Todd book, and so like I have this little moment. I was like, wait, are Dick and Bruce fighting at this point, or was that the other one? But I do think like they had like conflict in the last couple issues.
Yeah, they've had conflict. That's why he turns to Gordon for help.
Right, but it's kind of like they're getting along in this one.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they get along, but they have the growing pains of people who, Robin had a family, but he's living with this guy now, and Bruce has never raised a kid. He is a kid himself, and so there's conflict and challenges.
Yeah. I think that editors really need to work on the idea of telling similar stories at the same time in the line. Like, I think that's like, you can't do an early book about Jason Todd at the same time as you're doing an early book about Dick Grayson. Like, I think it's a mistake.
Certainly not if you're going to have 32 books come out.
Right.
I mean,
there's another one.
It's a lot to keep straight.
There's another book like that in this, and then it's not from the same publisher, but I did have a moment, and we'll get to that eventually.
I'm really excited for this to come out in hardcover or whatever format it comes when it's over. I've already thought of several people I'm going to gift it to for Christmas. It's just a terrific. Mark Waid's return to DC and his sort of slow dominance of it, as evidenced by the fact that next week he's writing the new history of the DC universe, is great. He did that over at Marvel, which now he's doing at DC. He's just that guy. Another book I really loved was Wonder Woman 822 or number 22 from Tom King and guest artist Caitlin Yarsky. That is a great cover as opposed to the Batman and Robin cover. In this issue, this is a flashback to the morning after Diana and Steve Trevor have sex for the first time, and she has to fight giant mouses. God, what is wrong with me? Mice that have attacked the Capitol under the direction of this mouse guy. And I just liked the awkward relationship stuff. I liked the trying to suss out how they both felt about it, because they didn't get to talk because she had to run out. And so because
of the mice,
right? If there's someone you really like and you sleep together for the first time, you want to be like, have a conversation, but they didn't get to have it, and so they have to have it while the giant mice are attacking everything. I thought Caitlin Yarsky draws a great giant mouse. I didn't love her characters as much, but the mice were terrific.
I like this style of cartoon. I think there's a couple of panels where it's kind of off, but I mean, in general, I like this art. I think it's probably just a experience thing. It's probably like get better. I think one of the things I like is that the relationship between Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman, certainly in the last, probably since the movies and around there, has been like one of the really nice ones. Like there's no, like these characters are in love, they're soulmates, whatever it is you want to say. Like he would go to hell for her, and he did.
Is he still dead?
I don't. You know what? I don't think so, because he showed up in something. I think with the daughter. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Like he won't be, so who cares?
Yeah.
But the point being, no, because in the Trinity book, that he showed up at the end, I think, or they were trying to. Doesn't matter.
My brain is mush.
I just think it's really sweet. It's sort of this one thing that you can count on, is that there's not conflict between them, and he has like ultimate respect for her,
right?
You know, and vice versa, which, you know, sort of switches things around from the normal dynamic. The only thing I didn't like is at the end, the king's back, and I'm like, can we just? I don't no more of that dude. I'm good with that dude for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it was a flashback, so I get it. But yeah, once I saw that, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's Obama, very specifically, as the president in this.
I also didn't realize that she talked mouse. She was able to communicate with the mice, and
you could just give her any power that seems kind of sweet.
So I just figured, if Tom King says so, fine. Like, okay,
yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't super thrilled by the guy showing up, but this was a. Well, I was going to say it's a one-shot issue, but it says next month, The Island of Mice and Men, so maybe not.
Well, it says prelude at the beginning, The Island of Mice and Men prelude. So this is like, here's what happened. The prelude is what happens before. Thank God I was here to tell you that.
Yes, I guess we'll jump to the present day with this mouse. What is this guy's name? Mouse Man? I don't know what this guy's name is.
It's not Deflator Mouse?
It should be. If it's not, that's a lost. What is this guy's name? I should say it.
Calls a bunch of people fat cats. Mice eat fat cats. I am the mouse, and this is my house. Mouse Man. He calls himself Mouse Man.
Well, he's Mouse Man then. That's fine.
Mouse Man knows. Mice have. You know what? Tom King loves a ridiculous supervillain.
He loves the Condiment King. He loves all those guys.
Clock King, Stilt Man, these sorts of things.
I get it. Have fun with it. They're all fun.
Sure.
We're going to have fun with it. Take a quick break. We'll be back for more comic talk. All right. Aliens versus Avengers #4. It took 4 months to come out. The final issue, double-sized. They have all been double-sized. Jonathan Hickman, Esad Ribic, and the final battle between the alien xenomorphs and the Marvel characters. And I thought this was okay. I liked the other issues better.
I think one of the things I liked before is that, and I liked this. I'm not. I
didn't dislike it. I was like, okay, that was fine.
And also, I would love to have more. Like, there's room here. Do one more, guys. Do one more for me.
I think it needed. I think that's what it was. I think it needed more. Even though it was
ended
basically 8 issues long. It still needed more.
It ended, and I was like, wait, is that because it could have gone like there's a big open door there. Right. But earlier on, one of the things I liked about it is that they stayed very like true to the xenomorphs as we know them. But in this, you have the Sinister thing where they turn the xenomorph into a Marvel character, and I was like, I don't want that. Just have them be the xenomorph thing, and that's the. I mean, listen, it's a good Marvel idea. It's a good twist. It's an excellent use of Mr. Sinister character. I just didn't prefer it. I don't even have a problem with it. I just like, oh, don't do it that way.
I also don't really love it when Mr. Sinister shows up. Like,
I don't like Mr. Sinister. I don't
like
get it.
When he showed up. He used him a lot in the X-Men Krakoa era, and I didn't understand any of it. I did like, though, that when they made the giant red, the Sinister xenomorph, they immediately turned on the Sinisters and killed them all.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, that's
correct.
That's how it should happen.
Yes.
I also feel like we're getting a lot of space Wakanda lately.
This is all the stuff from Ta-Nehisi Coates' run. I think he turned them into the space empire. Gotta say, don't love that.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's too big. It's too much. Like, I know, like, it does totally hammer home the idea that, like, they're the most advanced thing, but I think they could have been that on Earth and it would have worked just as well. I think it's like too far reaching. It does work in this story. Plus, they all get taken down. I like the fight. I like the fact that, you know, Wolverine went in there and you know, Armor was supposed to be like the solutions for how things went bad were very clever. You know, I was actually surprised that that Logan and what's her name were out, made it out, because I thought, oh, they're all gonna die.
Right.
I don't
That's awesome.
understand about the Venom.
Well, two things. One, I loved the alien xenomorph Marvel Sinister One has powers from other X-Men spliced into it, so it can bamf
bamf.
around like Nightcrawler. So bamfing inside of Armor's armor was very cool.
Yep.
I was like, oh shit. So it seemed like it just was what Venom does. Venom took over the xenomorph. Venom infected it.
Yeah, right. But then I thought, oh, now they're fucked. But at the end, he's just there. So that means that there's a xenomorph in there because it has a host. It doesn't live on its own.
Right. So, but Venom seems to be controlling the xenomorph.
Right. But that's, again,
yeah.
I think they'd be like, hey, don't bring him.
Right.
Anyway.
There were things I didn't love.
Yeah, but like there was a lot to think about. It was really clever. It was beautifully done.
Right.
I just was like, well, we haven't solved the problem here. And the thing is what's going to happen is it's going to get picked up again, but it ain't going to be these two dudes. Right. And so
diminishing returns as always.
Yeah, I'm already expecting to be disappointed by it. So that's
you're pre-disappointed.
Well, it's hard fought experience, quite honestly.
So did they? Again, I read so many comics. Did they destroy because the ultimate bad guys were the guys who unleashed the xenomorphs on everyone, the creators, right?
Also, didn't like that. The engineers.
Right, that was issue one. But they didn't actually attack them. That was what they were heading off to do at the end, right?
I guess, but it wasn't clear. Their role in this wasn't clear.
Right.
There was some flashbacky stuff, and then you saw the engineers like going to different worlds, and they're like fighting with the Wakandans, which didn't kind of jibe with the timeline. I think they tried to cram too many things in and didn't focus on the parts that were fun as much as they could have.
It was ultimately an enjoyable miniseries. We really liked the first three. The first two were terrific. I just feel like it ended too quickly. There were too many things going on. I'm
just saying I want more, baby. That's all. That's not a complaint. That's too bad.
Shall we get to our monthly dose of not shame, because I don't feel shame about West Coast Avengers #8, but just confusion as to why I keep reading.
I'm here because I've made a decision.
Oh, you're in now. You're all in.
I love it.
Oh,
I love it. Like at this point, I'm like, you know what? Make it wacky. Do the whole. Everything is crazy, and you can do that. Jerry Duggan literally is making me like this stupid bad guy. What's his name? Bottle Shock? Something? I don't know.
Something dumb.
Something Shockwave. Shocker.
Collar.
What's his name? Killer Watt.
Even worse than all the things you just said.
But it's like he's, you're watching his transformation into being a person who wants to do the right thing because he falls for the girl, and I find it compelling. I think that bringing in Simon Williams was excellent.
That helped a lot.
I think I do not like what's evil Steve Rogers' name? It's not Steve anymore. It's
I don't know.
Flag Smasher or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but I will say that because I know it's Steve Rogers is a very intimidating character. I was like, well, that's the problem. That dude. Right. And also he's like basically he's Schillingering Killer Watt in the prison, which you don't want. So
yeah, I do wish there was a better artist in the book. I don't really love Danny.
Is he the regular artist?
Yes, he's been doing all the issues.
Yeah.
I don't love it. It's not terrible, but it's not a style that I particularly love. I have to admit,
it's not my favorite, but it works. It almost gives it like a lo-fi quality. Like when I look through it, I'm like, I don't like any of this stuff. I don't like the stupid Ultron dogs and the big. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of it, I was like, bring it on more.
That's been every issue for us. It's been, I don't like this. I'm looking for the next one. I don't know why.
I think that's better.
It's starting to slowly get to. It's like a machine that's slowly locking into place, but it's happening very slowly. I did like the Ultron stuff this month where you've got these million Ultrons and they're starting to finally come together because that was a bad idea. And then
I really didn't want the good Ultron to turn bad. I was like, I don't want that. I want the good guy, the good Ultron.
It has to,
beacon
though.
of hope.
That has to, because it has
No.
to be a mistake. Ultron's like one of their worst villains.
No, he's gonna die. I think that's the like.
That's fine, but
he has to be destroyed.
He was never gonna stay on the team.
No, but he's not gonna turn bad, which is I don't want him to betray them. There'll be a thing where it seems like he does, and then at the last minute he'll sacrifice himself to save everybody or something like that.
I do think the addition of Simon Williams really did help the book.
Mm-hmm.
I love his safari jacket. It's easy to play to our sensibilities with the yellow, with the red and silver armor for Iron Man and Simon Williams, and I guess that's about it from the old days. The rest of it's new. I don't think they've really figured out how to use Spider-Woman effectively yet.
I agree.
She's front and center on the cover, but she's hardly in the books other than the first 2 pages, and they don't really have a lot for her to do yet.
Which is too bad. She's great.
No, I mean, I'm not saying they won't, but the problem with all of these books is they really excel when you can do the soap opera story, and you just can't do that as much in these books. And so,
well, at least he is leaning into doing like the adventure crime, superhero book at least,
It's a lot of pages in prison,
and it's not too serious. It's melodramatic enough, which I like.
Right.
And in fact, I would even say the art, while not being my favorite, it lends the whole thing a little bit of a lo-fi quality, which makes me kind of like it, if that makes sense. Like
almost a third of the book takes place in prison with Killer Watt.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Well, it's his story.
I don't like him. I think he's dumb. So all I've got to say about that.
But that's the trick, is to take this guy who you wouldn't like and nobody would like, and then by the end you like him.
They haven't done that yet.
Like Bodhi from The Wire.
Like almost all the characters from The Wire.
Yeah.
Almost every character.
Yeah.
Remember the cops in the very beginning when they blinded that kid? And you're like, oh, these guys are all monsters. And in the end, you're like, I love Carver.
Yeah, you're right. Fucking 4th season.
Presbolewski.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mr. Presbo.
Let's take another break. We're gonna have a little cry, and then we'll come back and talk about more comics. All right. I'm trying all the new X-Men books. Emma Frost, the White Queen, #1, and Her Thighs. This is great. I really like this issue.
Now, hold on. I want to download this.
It was actually a flashback issue. So it takes place in the past, in the Claremont Byrne era, when she is the White Queen of the Hellfire Club. She's a bad guy. Wolverine's wearing his his brown outfit. It's, the Wolverine Colossus Storm era. It's the, Wolverine in the sewer, that kind of era. And they're opening a new Hellfire Club. I think it's in Rio, and things go wrong, and the X-Men show up, and there's problems. And it's a miniseries. I like Evil White Queen, even though I also like her as a hero. It's fun to go back into that period from Marvel's past. And Amy Chu's got a good handle on it. Andrea DeVito, he does a good job on the art. As there's been a lot of X-Men books, and as they go, this has been one of the better ones. I thought this was really fun. Enjoyable. If you like that period of time from Marvel, it's definitely worth checking out.
I don't understand the Hellfire Club, and I never have.
Well, it was a real thing.
Yes,
it was a real sex club in DC. I mean, sure.
Right.
I'm assuming it's a sex club. They're all sex clubs. It was a private, weirdo, powerful men sex club.
Mm-hmm.
So they just, known sexual enthusiast Chris Claremont brought it into the X-Men. And it's sort of the same thing. It's just a club for the rich and powerful in the Marvel universe that was run by these mutants. And
I think that like the first time I would have read about it then was when I read the Phoenix Saga trade that I got very early.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe that at that point I was confused by it and I would understand it later. But because of that, I never put it together because it's my 11-year-old brain.
So this is like, it's like this era of Marvel, of X-Men, like this classic Byrne era. This is the only book this week where I read that had Logan in it, where he looked short in his regular solo book. He's drawn like a regular, tall, lanky man. And at one point in the script, they specifically call him 5'3". And I went, not that drawing. 5'3" people they have a different proportion.
Well, everybody else is 6'9".
Right.
It's funny because I'm flipping through this and there's pages where the faces and characters look very digitally rendered, I guess, sort of flat and weird. And then this other page is like the spreads, like the full plate. All the splashes in here are amazing.
The splashes are really great.
It's really weird.
The art's really strong.
It is, but it's inconsistent, I feel like.
That could be.
Anyway.
They're a little inconsistent on Emma's face and hair, but
not those thighs though.
I distinctly remember being like 12 or 13 and seeing these comics and going, "What is going on here?" Being an adult seems awesome, and it was
turns out
not as awesome as these comics imply.
Yeah, most people don't dress like that. It turns out.
I mean, if you really ask nicely.
Although one time at Comic-Con, I saw someone dressed just like this, and I still remember it. Anyway.
The Amazing Spider-Man 970 number 6. This is the handover from Pepe Larraz back to John Romita Jr., who just can't quit Spider-Man. He's determined to draw 1/3 of all Amazing Spider-Man comics, no matter what. I was a little, but we love Morita. Morita. That's Mr. Miyagi.
We also love Pat Morita.
Yeah, we love Romita here.
Noriyuki Pat Morita.
I was kind of bummed that it wasn't Pepe Larraz for many reasons. I just wanted to see him do the sexy Black Cat issue. My two thoughts on this book were: one, Peter does not realize he's been friend zoned by that nurse. I mean, it's pretty.
Once you're talking about being with other people,
and she's encouraging you to go get laid and make sure you wear a condom and all that, and good luck, buddy. Like, you're done.
Maybe she's just very modern. I don't know.
Maybe that's what the young people do now. But I was like, wow, buddy, you're out. Which is fine because Black Cat's like the best stakeout partner ever. I'm bored. You want to fool around? Absolutely.
I think I actually really liked that. I really like this Morita. I did it too. This Romita. Like
that was great.
When I see his name on something, I'm always like, I don't know, because sometimes it's not great. But this was just like, old comfortable shoes. This guy can do Amazing Spider-Man all day long, and it's great.
Yeah.
Like those shots of him drinking from his ridiculous straw. It was fun. I really like the bit with the new boyfriend.
May's boyfriend.
Yeah, May's boyfriend.
Who was a dick to Peter. Yeah.
Yeah. But what really made that though is at the end, she was like, "We talked about this." And, said, no. And that actually really, that part I thought made the whole scene work, because otherwise it was silly. But I also get it, like he's the boyfriend who's like, "Don't be a dick." But he thinks he's a drug addict, so that's weird.
Well, also because from the outside looking in, Peter's not the best nephew.
No, he's not the best person.
But May knows what's up. I mean, she doesn't know Spider-Man, but she knows he always comes through when it matters, and he does care about her and all this stuff. So, but if you don't know that, if you don't have the history,
then
you're just some guy with a chin strap beard. The old school Marvel guys love the chin strap beard on people.
Sure,
the older they get, the more they do it.
Because I saw that John Romita Sr. died at age 93, and fucking more power. And he was drawn so many of those guys were drawn right up until the end.
Yep.
But I was like, well, wait, how old is Junior at this point?
70.
He's 69. He'll be 70. Which that's
and
fantastic.
he's still nailing it. There's no corner cutting. These panels are full of life.
He needs an anchor.
Yeah, he's always.
Oh, actually, Scott Hanna.
Yeah, Scott Hanna.
You didn't put that in there.
Yeah, I did. It's right there on the curve, right there in the thing. Things by Scott Hanna.
Oh, it's not in the script.
Okay.
I'm just saying. You make me do the credits. You better get your.
This is not a problem for anybody but me. Did you have this problem where the final page was sideways?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I was like, what?
Yeah, and I was I was very confused.
Yeah, I just think this is fun. I like Peter's company. It's a weird situation. I don't believe in a million years that woman would talk to him about being in charge after the week he's had.
Comic books,
but no, it's just like. It's not as good as the Zeb Wells run, which you and I loved and no one else did, but I've been enjoying the Joe Kelly stuff very much.
I like that. Like basically, the idea was like things are pretty good. It's going well. And you're just like, all right, let him enjoy himself for an issue, and he got to, so it was nice.
And there were several comics I read this week that were basically one and done stories like this one, and so I'm glad those are sprinkling back in, as well as several comics that had thought balloons, and so I'm happy to see all kinds of fun things happening in comics right now, which is great.
I'm excited to see all the folks who go to patreon.com/iFanboy to support what we do here. It means a lot. We are listener supported. So if you can, if you want to, and you want to chip in, you want to be part of the group, join the team. Just, you can do that. iFanboy. Nope. Patreon.com/iFanboy /Morita. You can directly support this show and become part of a great community on Discord and Facebook. You can vote for the Patron Pick. You can get a Patron Power live on the show. And by the way, a little quicker to get in these days. Saying you're not going to wait 2 years like a lot of those early adopters, which doesn't seem fair now that I think about it. You can join the monthly Patron Hangout at $10 or higher. You'll get an ad-free version of the show, of all the shows, but this show specifically, you'll get a day early on Patreon. That's where it'll be. And you can subscribe here, just so it's clear. You subscribe to it just like you would this podcast, and it downloads automatically. You don't have to go download the file and get it onto your thing. It works just like this. It's just ad-free. So it is super convenient. And I think that's a nice bonus. Like that works the early day and all that. Unless you're like me, where you would probably read your books late and not get to it for a long time anyway. But a lot of people aren't like that. Discount if you sign up for a full year at one time as opposed to monthly. There's gift. You can gift or receive. You can receive and gift memberships. You go to patreon.com/iFanboy/gift. I said that's fine. /Morita for more info. iFanboy.threadless.com. I just had an idea for a shirt.
/Morita.
/Morita. That's not how URLs work. It's our merch store. We have 22 designs on t-shirts and more. There's two new designs with the new logos for the year, and then another shirt is on the way.
Yeah, we just figured out the release date. It'll be in 4 weeks.
iFanboy.com/support is PayPal link. Be direct about things. iFanboy.com/Amazon general shopping link. It's an affiliate thing. You click there, you buy what you want. We get a piece of it. Costs you nothing. Nice and easy. Bookshop.org. We use bookshop.org where appropriate on the site to link you to a site that aggregates local bookstores to get your books where appropriate. We try to use those in the Booksplodes and wherever else. We don't post a lot, so that's kind of where they are. And they don't do weekly issues, so there you are. Moving along. G.I. Joe 8 made me happy. So here's the problem with Noriyuki Pat Morita.
Yeah.
When we grew up, we would talk like him, but now we shouldn't talk like him because you don't do that anymore. But I desperately want to talk like him. But you can be like, send the floor.
Oh, that was a voice for him too. That wasn't his voice.
I know that, but that's he had to do it too. I understand. It's the Miyagi.
G.I. Joe.
Joe. I thought it was just a fun sort of romp of an issue, but also you had kind of slower character moments. And if you're going to have Baroness on the team, they're really making an attempt to humanize her. And I keep wondering when she's going to flip because she kind of has to. But now I kind of don't want her to because it would be sad. But, you learn something about her. You can go either way with that. But I found it interesting because they're taking the character kind of seriously. You have a really fun bit with Clutch and what's the name of his Jeep one? Who's the Jeep one?
I don't know.
Well, they
happened last time too.
He said, hey, just stay in car form. And then immediately that transformer was like, yeah, I'm a 15-foot tall robot. I'm out of here. Although where did he hide? How did he do that? I liked the bit at the beginning where it looked like CoverGirl and Flint were hunting Baroness, and I thought, wait a minute, what did I miss at the end of last issue? But it was revealed that they were just doing training exercises, and they said, we've done enough of this. And what's funny is that CoverGirl said, we've been doing this all morning. And I was like, just the morning? Come on, quit whining. And then she was like, I used to be a model, and I was like, fair enough.
I do like that, so do it differently. Scarlet is off doing whatever she's doing in her mini series. So CoverGirl's become, the primary female G.I. Joe. But she's taking a Scarlet role on the team right now, and I like that because I was, she's not a well utilized character, in the old version, and so it was interesting to see that. I think we talked about Andrea Milana's art in one of the silent issues, and I thought it was good in places and not in others. I thought it was a little inconsistent. I remember distinctly saying I liked the art a lot, the silent issue, and he could draw the main book. So here he is. But I thought it was a little inconsistent at times.
I think that one of the things that we're seeing with a lot of these artists, same thing when we were just talking about who did the White Queen, DeVito,
yeah, Andrea DeVito.
Is that in the action stuff, it's pretty good, and a lot of artists seem to have trouble with the standing around stuff.
Yeah.
And that is a very consistent thing across a lot of the books. In fact, I think as we start to say this again, we're going to notice that that's the deal, because when somebody is standing there just having a regular face, then they aren't as good at it.
I like that you conjured up Raptor. Last time we talked about G.I. Joe, you mentioned Raptor.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that, saw that bird, I was like, y'all's about to have a crazy bird dressed accountant on your ass
with Wolverine claws.
Yeah,
I just liked CoverGirl and Baroness together in Paris, and I thought it was a good issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought this was a really solid, really, really good issue.
Yep.
And I like Major Blood's all pissed off at Baroness and wants revenge, and then we had the subplot with Clutch, and we had the subplot with Cobra Commander and Destro, where Cobra Commander has revealed to Destro the full extent of the Transformers, and now Destro is obviously very interested in the technology.
Yeah, a lot in here.
A lot going on. I enjoyed it. All right, so those are all the regular books. Again, we had 32. I had 32 books, so we decided, even though we have the after show now for other books, we decided to bring the bell back into the scenario. So, if you haven't seen the show before, or it's been a while, the bell is where we do a speed round. We're going to do 10 books here on the bell. We're going to get 15 seconds for each book, and then the bell's going to sound, and you have to go on to the next book. I'm just preparing all the different accoutrement I need for the bell. Josh is going to start us off, and then we're going to get rolling. Are you ready? Do you need to stretch?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Did I write this? This number's wrong. Is that my fault?
What number?
On the first book.
Oh. I mean, it maybe, but it doesn't matter because no one's going to see it.
Okay. I was going to say that, but now I don't remember the real number. Is it 13?
I'll give you a countdown. You don't know the real number. That's the problem. Okay. That is an issue. Hold on, everyone. It is nope. This is great radio for everyone. It's number 12.
13.
Number 12. 13.
13.
Okay. All right, you ready? I'll count you in.
Yes.
We're starting the bell in 3, 2, 1, go.
Ultimates number 13. I'm out. I don't like it. It's not good. I don't care what happens anymore. I yield my
time. Nightwing 127. I think this was the best issue for sure of the Stan Waters what's his name run, but it's still just fine.
Bug Wars number 5. I really struggle to like this because I really love the art and I really love Jason Aaron and I really hate bugs and I'm not super interested in it. I'm appreciating the craft more than anything. The more we get into spiders biting everybody, I'm like, I wouldn't read this if it was anybody else.
No, Batman and Superman, World's Finest 40. This was really good. I could have talked about it on the show. This was another one-shot story in which everyone fights basically Andrew Tate. And why not? He needs to be fought.
Yeah, sure. Blood and Thunder number 2. And to be honest, I read this last week. I don't remember exactly what happened, but what I do remember is that I thought it was a great second issue because it worked a lot better than the first one. Cleared up the things where I enjoyed it and wanted to know what was coming next.
I still don't understand it. Is that her hair or is that like a
fire? She's balding.
Okay. Exquisite Corpses number 2. I'm out. It has an interesting premise, but the same problem with the first issue was there's a million characters. I don't know how they relate to each other. I don't know which bad guy goes to which family. I'm out.
I really want to add to that, so don't start the timer.
Okay.
I couldn't remember what it was. I thought I probably don't like this, and I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. I read 4 pages, and I was like, no, I'm not reading this. Anyway, hit it again.
Go.
Absolute Flash number 4. I'm intrigued. I don't even know, but I really want to know what's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you it's great, but I am hooked. It's something.
Zatanna number 5. I got really worried for a second. They were retconning her origin in the beginning, where it's like she's not really good at magic and she's like way younger than the rest of the Justice League. And I was like, what is happening here? But they turned out that wasn't real. One issue to go. It's probably time for it to end. It hasn't been as fun as at the beginning of the story.
Valid attempt. EC Epitaphs from the Abyss, number 12. I just want to say this is the last issue of the thing. It's been a really fun miniseries anthology. I really want them to do more like this. I think it was great.
Well, they announced an ongoing today. At least another EC ongoing.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. But they just announced one that was like a regular series. It was not an anthology.
The Great British Bump Off Killer Bee Quilt number 3, which took like a third of my time just saying that. I just love this cozy little murder mystery adventure. I thought this issue was really strong with the quilting convention and her dealing with being in between both
There's no murder
faction. Oh no, it's a crime story. It's a crime story. Sure. I don't know. I ran out of time. I liked the issue though.
I did too.
I thought it was good. And you know what's crazy is that we did 10 books and we talked about 8 books before that, and we still have 16 books for the after show. So that's
bring the bell back.
Freaking comics came out this week. Those are the books we wanted to talk about. But at patreon.com/iFanboy, every patron gets a vote. I booked the rundown. And this week, by a fairly healthy, it was actually a wire-to-wire win. It was Krypto, the Last Dog of Krypton, number 1 from DC Comics. Ryan North crossing the aisle. Art by Mike Norton, old friend of the show. Colors by Ian Herring, letters by Lucas
fan.
Gattoni, there's your contractual Italian creator, published by DC Comics. Great. I thought great cover by what's his name?
Jay Lee.
Yeah.
Is it?
I love Jay Lee covers.
Yeah.
So, what was your thoughts?
Now earlier you said something interesting because you named the number of books and you said not including the patron pick, which means that I really want to get to the question at the end here, but I'm not going to spoil it.
I think you can figure out the answer to that question.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why that wouldn't be the answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Krypto, the Last Dog of Krypton. This was a book that I had the most emotional trouble with because a sad dog being separated from its family, it just breaks my heart. I can't.
He got liked.
Yeah, he did, and I didn't buy that either.
They used him to test the pod before they put Clark in it. They sent him into space, and I was like, "Wow, that's an interesting choice."
I feel like, I mean, listen, they're Kryptonians, so they have a whole different thing going on. But no one who loves
to test something. You're not going to test it with your kid.
Then find a monkey somewhere, or space monkey.
Beppo.
Like,
where's Beppo?
You don't. It's a good dog. The whole thing about the dog is the only.
Plenty of dogs have been shot into space, Josh. People do it all the time.
But by monsters. The dog only has you. That's the only thing that's important to the dog, and you need to respect that. The dog loves you. He'd do anything for you, and you're like,
including test your spaceship.
Yeah.
Even Doc Brown sent his dog into the past,
and I didn't have a problem with that. Although I do now. I didn't care about dogs back then.
Dogs are for testing.
I think I couldn't have necessarily told you this was Ryan North, which is interesting. I think Mike Norton did a fantastic job. And
where's he been?
It's ridiculous. There's no way he's saying I don't want to draw comics. And dude's great comic book artist. Just incredible, one of the best storytellers. Yeah.
Nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
I saw him last at our buddy Hank's wedding.
He's going to hit his deadlines. He's a super nice guy. He's storytelling like a son of a bitch. He draws a great dog emoting. Guy loves dogs. I know that much.
But just everything, all of his work was really
are like
strong here.
Like it's like the Kryptonians all have like the best of Silver Age and Bronze Age and Modern Age all sort of mixed together.
I thought Ryan North got a little into Mark Russell territory with this scene in the park where Lara's walking Krypto in his dog jacket. And then another dog owner shows up and they start talking about all the earthquakes and instability, and it becomes very much a climate change allegory.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought it felt very much like a Mark Russell bit than it did a Ryan North bit. But
let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty easy to turn Krypton into a climate allegory, but when it was conceived, when it came out in 1938, what was it? Because that's before the
hubris of man.
But because it's before, like, all the 50s was about the terror of atomic power, and it's before the Holocaust.
it was just a hubristic story. The planet's dying, and they couldn't. I mean, I don't even remember I don't remember when. It could have been that they didn't go deeply into the story until
Maybe.
in the 50s.
Yeah.
But it's at its core, it's about the hubris of man, which is all of our problems in the world are. But no one wants to believe that the planet could die. Also, I think there's a bit of like you can't wrap your mind around something that large. I mean, even now when things happen, I'm like, I don't understand how that could happen because your brain can't handle it. But
something I thought.
I thought Mike Norton was great. I thought Ryan North. So we'll jump a little ahead to the final questions. I was reading this and I thought, okay, this is like totally enjoyable and fine, but I wasn't like super into it or wanting to continue. But so they test the rocket by sending Krypto into space, and he goes into a wormhole and comes out to Earth. I thought, well, are they saying that Clark went through a wormhole? And then we find out that he's landed in basically what looks like 1930s Earth, based on the cars and the clothing.
Yeah.
And he meets Lex Luthor, who's a kid in 1930s Earth. And I went, well, that's interesting. Ryan North, you got me. I win.
But is it possibly that in this story, this is just the Earth?
That's entirely possible. And you know what it made me think of?
Superman's so flexible that when this happened, I didn't even consider that it was. I was like, it's just like that's.
I would have thought they would have put like an Elseworlds on it if that was the case. But either way, I'm into it. I'm intrigued enough to continue reading it.
I looking through it now and just seeing all this dog by itself and freaked out, and also not being freaked out when it should be freaked out. I'm not kidding. It was very difficult. I was like, oh, don't do this to the dog. Also, did they have two rockets? Because they're testing one and they lost it.
Right. Well, first of all, understand Krypto's fine. He's a Kryptonian dog. He will eventually. He can't. Nothing on this planet will hurt him. Because Kryptonite hasn't happened yet.
It's not about the dog being hurt. It's the dog being alone. The only thing he has is his people, and he lost his people, and he doesn't know what's going on.
Person. Dogs are also very transactional.
That guy's a monster.
He doesn't know that. He's not a monster yet.
Dogs know that.
He doesn't. He seems to be pretty happy with Lex right there.
Right. Well, he probably has meat in his pockets.
I was thinking this is somewhat related. Do you remember that really great Dan Jurgens Batman book, The Batman, that we loved?
Kind of.
It was the one the one that took place in 1939.
And he had like the old like Detective Comics 27 head.
Yeah, and I was like, man, that would be a really great imprint where you take, an Elseworlds imprint where you do the characters in their original time frame, like that, kind of like the New Frontiers, basically that, taking all those Silver Age characters and putting them out in the time. Like that would be a really fun imprint, was to do all the characters in the original time they appeared. Anyway, Krypto, the last time on Krypton, I was happy they picked this because I wasn't going to read it, and I ended up liking it. And like I said, the twist got me intrigued enough to read more. So
you're not going to read a Ryan North book just because?
I just don't. I mean, that dog main character, I don't really care, so I'm not going to read it.
I looked at it and I thought if it's a crap team, I probably won't. I'll look at it, but I won't. But I saw I was like, oh, I got to read that.
It's got to be a combination of creator and concept and characters. That's for me. Those are the three.
No,
those are the slot machine spinners that have to all come up.
We all have our thing.
Look
at the logo treatment.
There's hardly anyone I'm going to read that's just based on nothing.
Yeah.
There's a couple maybe, but
it's all in, which would make me think that it is part of the continuity.
Oh, I think it totally is. It would say not if it wasn't.
Okay.
He's going to have to go back, but it's got to be a multiverse thing because obviously, they're in the 30s here.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We don't know.
Nothing matters.
Krypto's actually old as shit.
Krypto, the last dog of Krypton, #1 ratings. Ratings. Out of 5.
I want you to go first. Usually go first, but
3 1/4.
3.9.
Oh,
I liked it a lot. It's not a 4-star book, but I enjoyed it. It there could have been bad.
Right.
It could have easily been bad. It's very easy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And not do a good. But if you're talking about like hitting the mark, doing the storytelling that it required to tell a story about a dog who isn't talking,
Mm-hmm.
And
hard.
effectively, it's so hard. Like it's as a high level act, and
Right.
I cannot give Mike Norton enough credit for it. Okay, so you said
I wasn't going to read it.
I read it ahead of time, so I
also let's be fair. This wasn't a week where I had 12 books.
Fair.
This was a week where I had 31 books, so I wasn't really venturing out into new territory very much this week.
That's fair.
Other than the ones I'd already planned on reading.
So
yeah, I'm sticking with it. I want to see what happens. I want to see what the deal with the time travel is.
All right.
He went through a wormhole. It's a relativity thing. For him, it's going to be months. When he comes back, it's going to be minutes.
Yeah. Relatively.
Relatively.
Yeah, but he's going to get back, and everyone's going to be dead. And again, we have to watch him be sad.
Well, no, Clark will be back. Clark will be fine.
Not when he gets to Krypton. He's got to go there, see the sadness, then find a way back. I don't know. This is why I don't write comics.
Patreon.com/iFanboy. Thanks for being patrons. Thanks for voting for Patron Pick and voting. I said that twice. It's really hot. And we appreciate it. Everyone who votes. And the more people who vote, the better. We appreciate everyone who votes. It takes the time. It takes 2 seconds. But if you give it the $5 or higher levels of Patreon, you get a superpower live on the show, like this mysteriously named person, TUCJ.
The country's best jerky.
TC.
Comics Journal. It's the Comics
Journal. Could be. TC was
is this Dennis
one of the Magnum PI characters, and CJ was a character on the West Wing.
Mm-hmm.
TJ was TJ
combination.
Hooker.
Wow.
So this could be Allison Janney. This could be William Shatner. And I don't know
if you know this next. I was like,
I don't know who played TC, but I know that I think he just died. Actually, I think he just passed away, so it can't be him unless he didn't kill his account, and then was she still paying? I think he did pass. Yeah, he passed away in 2022. Roger Mosley was the original TC in Magnum PI. Love that show. Anyway, you ever like have a sunburn? I don't know. Maybe you have had a sunburn or not.
I've had a lot of sunburns.
You ever get like fresh aloe from a plant, like cut, pull the leaf out and slice it, and you get that nice gooey, sticky fresh aloe. It's the best. TCJ can just exude that from their hands. Just all of a sudden, just the nice fresh aloe. Rub it all around. Put it on the face. Gives you a nice. It's good for your face. Sunburns. Just comes out.
I assume he can control the rate of extrusion.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, because otherwise it's a mess.
And you could make the ground slippery. There's all kinds of uses for aloe. Slippery or sticky. Mm-hmm. But TCJ's got great skin because always just rubbing it on.
Is this his method of perspiration, or is it like a
no? It's a controlled output. Controlled output of aloe from his palms.
I see. It's just straight up like high grade natural.
It's high grade from the source, not your store bought chemical. It's the plant stuff.
Okay.
The plant stuff.
The first time I ever saw that, I thought it was amazing. I was like, wait, the stuff is just in this plant leaf? It's in. The best thing I
ever when I moved to California was I bought this really big aloe plant with big, thick leaves, and I used that for 10 years. Every time I went to the beach or whatever afterwards, it was just the best. And then it died because I got a fungus.
By the way, you need to lead with the sunblock, buddy.
Obviously, this is for after.
Okay.
You don't go out with the aloe. I'm saying when you get back from the beach after you've gone through.
I thought you were just getting out there and getting burnt every time and be like, I need the plant.
I don't know what's happening. I don't understand. I'm come back red and it's painful, and I think I have cancer. So thanks for being a patron, TCJ, or William Shatner, or Allison Janney, or whoever you are. It could, you know what? Could be Pat Morita. I mean, Pat Morita's long passed away, but could be his estate. Could be the estate of Pat Morita as the patron. Mm-hmm. Let's do one, at least one. Well, yeah, we might be able to do two. Let's all right. I got a lot of buttons here. Hold on. Come on, buddy. That's not what I want to do.
That's great, but it's the best possible thing.
I don't know why it's taking over. There we go. The first email. Oh God. All right, I got so distracted by Pat Morita's smile. First email comes from Patrick K from North Carolina. He says, I thought about this question the entire time while running a 5K, and I was wondering why more recently created characters struggle when new creators take over. For example, G. Willow Wilson's run with Ms. Marvel was near perfection, but when new creators took over her run, it feels less than and not as well done. However, older characters like Fantastic Four, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man can do better with new creative teams. What are the differences in these characters? Why is it that a new character seems to only work with their original creators?
There's less of a existing blueprint. like when a character is brand new, like the first couple of people who take over Miles Morales, it's fresh, so Brian Bendis has been writing and he knows that character. You do, somebody else takes it over and it ain't the same,
right?
And it's weird. Now we know from the other characters by reading dozens of different versions of Batman, we're used to that change, and so I just think it's harder to put your imprint on a character who's only had one person ever working at it, because you the creator don't know that character as well, nor does the reader. So there's it's a quicker shift in its adjustment, when there's a character. So like take Ms. Marvel's a great example of this, by the way.
Yep.
You've only read one person do her, and
she
got her perfectly. So somebody else comes along, you've only had the one version, you found yourself liking this character. And by the way, creating a new character as a modern comic book creator and having people really connect with them is the hardest possible thing.
Damn near miracle.
It is. And I just want to make that. So then whoever the next person comes in, it's going to be harder. There's just less to work with, and you're trying to figure out your spin. But the only reason everybody loves them is because they were written with this one person's voice. They're not, they don't belong in the ether yet. They're not there.
It's, my guess is if you went back to the 60s and 70s, and if there was an internet, you'd see the same conversations. Why doesn't Spider-Man sound like he did when Stan wrote him?
Who is this jackass John Romita drawing Spider-Man?
Or Roy Thomas, right? Or, Batman isn't right. We know because for almost 90 years, these characters have been cycling through different comic careers, so we're used to it. But when one character, like you said, has only been written by one person, it's more jarring. But I think if we went back in time and we'd see the first time someone else wrote Fantastic Four, people were probably like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like I remember when, I don't remember who the writer was who took over Miles Morales, but gave him a much more authentic, young, Afro-Latino voice. It was much more authentic, but it didn't sound like the way Bendis wrote him. And so it was very weird.
Saladin and Ahmed wrote it for a while, and that was,
it might have been him.
Good. But there was somebody before that.
It's just like, we just happened to be here for the transition from the original writer to the new one. We just weren't there for Spider-Man or Fantastic Four or Superman or whoever. But it's not wrong. I mean, Ms. Marvel's series hasn't worked since G. Willis, which is interesting.
But you're used to it. Like if you pick up a Wolverine book, this Logan could be anything.
Right.
If you pick up a Batman book, and you're so conditioned to it, and you can pick and choose too. You can be like, oh, I like this version, or I don't like this version. Another one's going to come along. Miles Morales, Ms. Marvel, Jessica Jones, like you have a very specific thing that it's supposed to be. And I don't know that the characters struggle as much as the reader does.
Jessica Jones is a great example also.
Yes. I can't think of anybody who's,
no one's even really tried. For 10 years, Bendis wrote that character in various books. And
somebody did a mini with Stephanie Phillips, maybe.
And it's just weird. But also, again, it's just because we happen to be there for it. And
yes,
I think that's really the real reason. I think we can do another one. Let's do man, this Pat Morita thing's really screwed me up. Chris S from Texas says, I've had a nagging question I've been thinking about since the New 52. With all the different worlds dimensions, why haven't the big two taken advantage of these worlds by giving their tenured writers and artists a world or dimension to play in and create on their own? You could have a main line to give to new upcoming talent and give the ones who have proven themselves with the main line their own playground to play in and develop more unique stories that aren't bogged down by the history of the characters. People are really, really, really upset about the continuity. There's lots of reasons, I think. Yeah, I'm curious what you think, though.
Well, in the old days, I would have said because of the market, then they're more likely to buy stuff with no names on it. I don't know if that matters anymore or changes sales. I do think that there is just something about the club aspect to it. These are people who are professionals and they like to know who they're working with and who to trust. And so if you're launching a big project, you want to have a trusted partner on it, just from a business standpoint, I think. So they know so-and-so can do the work and they're good to work with. They're going to hit their deadlines. And so you're giving them the responsibility. You don't necessarily want, like new creators start on little weird books until they sell like 4 issues. And then they're like, you get Avengers.
Yes, like so. Why the question is why isn't like Jason Aaron given Earth 1234 at Marvel and allowed to do whatever he wants in it? And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. That doesn't happen. Number one, that shit's expensive. Like launching a new line of books is not cheap. You can't. I mean, it's a lot of infrastructure. You know, you gotta if you're having all new launch books, there's a bunch of books coming out. You know, I need more creators. You got talent costs. You got marketing costs. Like there's a lot of stuff that I think a lot of times readers don't think about, but like behind the scenes is very expensive, and there's lots of things that has to happen. Number two, I still, you know, despite the popularity of Absolute and Ultimate, I think the majority of readers still want to read the main story.
I agree. I think that's
and
definitely.
So you don't take away your biggest draws from the main story and put them somewhere else. Again, Absolute Ultimate are a weird anomaly. Ultimate has a history behind it. Absolute came out of this other thing. Eventually, the shine will wear off of that. But I bet you
they all still led with the big names, so that the initial readers who went in there knew to trust those people.
Well, that's what he's saying. Give the big names their own new worlds and keep the regular books for the new town. That's what he's saying in the email. He's basically saying, why isn't everyone get their own Absolute book? Is what he's saying.
Because then it all falls apart.
At the end of the day, and we've had executives and people at every company tell us this. Most people want to read the main books, and so when they put like Scott Snyder on Detective Comics, it didn't sell as well as when he wrote Batman. And you know, it's just because Batman's considered the main book, and so it's just
it isn't in my head. I've always Detective has been better pretty much my whole reading life.
Sure, but it's just considered the main book.
No, I get it. I just
and other reasons too. I think I can't remember what they were at the moment, but it's cost. It's most people want to read the main thing. And also for most people, continuity is a feature, not a bug. I know that a lot of people don't like it. We talked about this a couple of episodes ago with an email, but for most people, continuity is the thing they really enjoy. So,
I think the creators also want to do the main thing. Like they always get a chance to go do their own thing wherever, you know, but you know, you want to be like, I'm doing Action Comics.
Right.
Like that's the top of the mountain. You want to play in the NBA.
Right.
You know, like you don't want to go to the big three.
I also don't know that there are that many creators that could support it.
There isn't. I mean, like honestly,
not anymore.
There's certain guy. This is a Hickman's thing. This is what Hickman does. Is he'll go, I'll do your book, but I get to do my own thing. He says, cool. Tom Taylor.
Look at Absolute. How many series in did we get until we fell off a cliff in terms of, you know, like,
well,
Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman. You have a great writer and artist team. Absolute Superman, great writer, okay artist. Absolute Flash, Absolute Martian Manhunter, Absolute Green Lantern. You start going down the hill.
Also the other thing, like, there's only so much talent. There's only so much experienced talent, and you can't.
We've already used up every artist in Italy. They're all done. They've all been hired.
John Romita Jr. is 69 years old. We need.
I mean, everyone's going to point to the Absolute being the antithesis of what we're saying, the counter argument. But I think it's a very special situation. Even the Ultimate books, again, like they are of varying quality, and I don't think you would take most of your good people off of your main books that sell well and put them on a experiment. And if you had suddenly 5 imprints and they all had featured different versions of Batman, it's just too much brand confusion and things.
I also really think that even though a name doesn't necessarily move the needle, people want consistency in those books, especially like the longtime readers of somebody who's reading Action Comics. And the fact is, a veteran, experienced comic book writer who's been doing it for a long time is going to put out a better book and keep more people in the books. And maybe people aren't reading it necessarily because it's Mark Waid's name on there, but people continue reading it and stay on there because Mark Waid is writing it because he's good at it. And
look what happened to his books when that Batman and Superman book first came out. we were like, this clearly seems to be out of continuity.
Mm-hmm.
But slowly they merged it because it was popular.
And I can't tell you the last time that a Batman Superman book has lasted this long.
40 issues.
That doesn't happen.
But again, they merged into the main world because it was popular. Like, they could have easily given Mark Waid a world and said, play with it.
But I also just think that's because it's good. I think it's because it's really good and it works. And that, you know, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
Comics, the audience is so small that if you have a portion who are only going to read the things that quote unquote matter, which is annoying, but is the case, then splintering out what matters is going to be a big problem. And the easiest way to keep your job is to put if you're in charge, is to put a good creative team on a popular book. The easiest way to lose your job is to take all those good people away, put them in their own bucket,
and let those experiments fail.
Take all, because the ideas might not be good,
and
take all your main books and populate them with unproven talent. And you know, I don't think there's enough upcoming unproven talent, to be honest with you, based on the
I agree.
Based on a lot of things we've seen from the tryout books. It's just there's just not enough people, good people doing comics.
It takes a really long time to be a competent and interesting sequential comic book writer. Like, there's talent, and that's all over the place, but the experience, the ability to do that. Like, I've known Josh Williamson forever. He took a very long time to hone himself into a guy who's right up there with Jeff Johns, and he stuck at it. Like, that's how you're supposed to. So a lot of these guys who have done like a couple of Image miniseries and they come out with a book and it's kind of interesting, they might make some splashes here and there, but they don't have it yet. Like, Brian North is an anomaly. Yeah. He's not normal.
Yeah. It's tough. It's a great question. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting idea, but it's just. I don't think there's so many reasons why the market couldn't bear it. I know, and also there's just an aversion to new ideas. You know, in an industry that's geared towards nostalgia and recreating the past. We had a huge creator tell us once that they offered DC to gather a cabal of huge creators and create all new characters for them. Just do like a year of new creations, and DC said, no thanks, why don't you go back to do Batman? Like, that's just the way this industry is geared towards. It's just easier to keep your job when you put the best creators on the main books as opposed to taking a bunch of chances. It just is. It's just, and that's unfortunately the way they have to think about it. Woo! Thank you, Patrick K and Chris S. Those are awesome. Those are two great questions that I don't think we've ever answered before, which is amazing after 20 years. So appreciate it. We want to hear from you. Contact@ifanboy.com is how you can get on the show. Write us emails. We love these. We love email questions. We love the discussions that come out of them. And so thank you. Let's do some quick plugs. 2 weeks ago, we had our Booksplode review of Ronin by Frank Miller. And I think that was fun. I think it was an interesting conversation.
It was.
And I think lots of people have very strong opinions on Ronin and Frank Miller. And
also, a lot of people bought it and didn't read it.
And didn't like it.
We
offer no guarantees.
No.
In fact, our conversation was very mixed. So it wasn't a rave.
Yet there was value.
This past week, we released our Mediasplode episode that was supposed to be Old Men and Old Movies Rad. We had to push that once we realized that this very week was the 50th anniversary of Jaws, one of our collective favorite films. So we talked about Jaws. We talked about Brian Wilson's passing. We talked about what we've been enjoying. That was also a fun episode. Josh revealed about his fear of the water.
Men is not meant to be there.
Listen, after I saw The Perfect Storm, I was like, I don't think I need to get in a boat again.
Listen, also, by the way, my maternal lineages are like, they're sea people. They're captains, and I didn't get it.
You need to start wearing a cap and a...
My brother, he's a lobsterman.
I know he's a lobsterman.
But I didn't get it.
You didn't get that gene. That's fine. You're a man of the land. You're an inside kid.
You can find...
Well, hold on. Wait, one more.
You're an inside kid.
Coming in July, we have Mediasplode, Old Men and Old Movies Rad, unless something important happens, but that's what we are planning on. We have a special guest joining us for that. We can't keep stringing them along. It is not Lori Loughlin, although that would have been awesome. So in July, we'll have that episode. We'll have our Superman review. We'll have our Fantastic Four review. And we'll have our Talksplode that Josh will be doing with somebody. Don't know yet.
You can find our library. Yeah, sure. I might not have to do it. We're going to see what happens there. You can find our library of a whole crap load of shows over at iFanboy.com, wherever there are podcasts available for subscription and download. Never miss a show, and find out what the pick of the week is before the show comes out by following us at the following social media destinations. iFanboy Comics on Instagram and Threads, at iFanboy.com on Blue Sky. Individually, Connor and I are on Instagram as CS Kilpatrick and J.A. Flanagan. Do not miss former writer of iFanboy content, Jeff Reed, who makes video deep dives into forgotten comic book lore and minutia every Tuesday and Friday across our social media channels and on YouTube.
But
the
not
guy,
Blue Sky, not Blue Sky, because we found out the videos are too big for Blue Sky. They've got a very short, they got a very small threshold for videos.
And I respect them for that. What I'm saying is Jeff couldn't hold this stuff inside.
No, he was dying.
He had to
get
it.
He was killing him.
He was like, how do I need, because he will share it with, if he hears the thing, he'll send you, if he
His
knows
doctor was like, this is killing you.
Yeah, he'll send you a missive about Blue Devil. And it'll be interesting, and he knows it, and he cares.
Yeah. Why does it not do that? Every time I hit the button for Pat Morita, it shows the other one.
He's sneaky. He's basically Shinobi.
Hey, please consider writing a review or leaving a star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you listen on Pocket Cast, you have downloaded a couple episodes, and subscribe before you can rate it, which we appreciate. YouTube.com/iFanboy. If you subscribe, if you hit the bell, I think what the bell does is if you're on YouTube at the time and we release a video, it alerts you. That's my working theory. Don't tell me. I'd like to make up ideas for what the bell could be. I don't really want to know.
You're the best.
But
around.
if you do the
nothing's gonna ever keep you
we
down.
appreciate
You're
it.
The best around.
You can find the video version of this show, which Josh has just now made sure we're not going to make any money off of. And then
you can't even sing it.
No, the music is copyrighted.
What if I sing the wrong melody?
Our special edition shows are also on there, except for the Talk Explodes. Jeff Reed's deep dives are on there under the shorts section. And you can find an archive of all of our old video shows from 2007, 2012. When we were younger, we were thinner, we had darker beards, and we looked like babies, even though we were mostly in our late 20s and early 30s. But we still did. That's
I was dumber.
Oh, sure.
And I wasn't dumber. I just didn't know how dumb I was.
Finally, join us on the iFanboy After Show, exclusively on Patreon, where we share our thoughts on all the books we read but didn't talk about on this show. That is at patreon.com/iFanboy, exclusively for anyone in the $10 a month or higher level. Josh, that was a fun one. I really I struggled this week. It was a lot of books, but I
struggled. I can tell you, I didn't like a lot of books I read this week. I just was like, it's not doing it for me.
It's going to be one of those after shows.
It was going to be this kind of show, but I got around it.
I'm just saying, if you want some spicy hot takes, that's the after show is going to be for you, and we'll see you there. Until then, I'm Connor.
I'm Josh. Then bye.